Okay, this is the 12th session. So before we move into the class, let us just look at the learning outcomes. Teach a lesson using active learning approaches to engage and motivate students to learn. So this is the objective or the learning outcome. So the key questions are, why should new learning be built upon students' existing learning? Why do active learning approaches to teaching and learning help to engage and motivate students to learn? How do the selection, design, and use of resources enhance learning and engage and motivate students to learn? What questions can students ask of themselves at the beginning, during, and end of the given task or activity? So before we move on, last week I asked you to have some lesson samples. So we will be looking for smart objectives, coherency, and build our class based on that. So that's the prior knowledge that for this session that we'll be using. So yes, anyone is ready with the lesson? Sample lesson? Yes, Kushi.
Yes, ma'am. I tried my best. Can I share my
Yeah,
screen?
no problem. Share it.
The same template I have taken, ma'am. This was a
Yeah.
topic last week in our class. We had this Helen Keller lesson. So was the aim, contrast their feelings when they see someone who needs help. This was
Okay.
there.
Is this the Cambridge topic?
Yes, ma'am. No, not Cambridge, ma'am. Yeah, the file which you have given and you told us to choose one aim from it. So the same aim.
When I'm asking for
Document.
lesson aim, is
Yeah.
it from CBSE or is it from Cambridge?
CBSE, CBSE, ma'am.
Okay. Can you
CBSE
just,
aim.
yeah, go
Yeah.
down?
This is the aim and these are the three objectives I have taken. So I have gone through with the lesson plan according to as per what like timings we follow. Like for 10 minutes for introduction, 20 minutes for the new content and 10 minutes for recap and closing.
Okay.
So total 40 minutes timing. So I have taken the same topics which was there in the template. So topic, content and teacher. At first I'll read the aim, ma'am. Aim and objectives. Aim is to contrast their feelings when they see someone who needs help because this is all related to disability. So these three are the measurable.
1 minute. Identify at least 5 emotions they have experienced during blindfolding activity. That's it. Don't write and explain how these emotions influence their action. That's a different perspective or a different objective.
So can I mention the activity name in the objective also?
Yeah, you can. See, that is not the objective, isn't it? Objective is identify at least 5 emotions.
Correct. So Keshu,
Okay.
should I stop there or can I mention the
You
activity?
have to stop there during the
Okay.
blindfold activity.
Okay.
Next, you have to have explain these emotions and how it influence their action.
Okay. So that I have to divide into two parts.
Yes.
Okay.
And next one is analyze.
Helen Keller's challenges.
No, from the experience, analyze Helen Keller's challenges. Okay. And discuss in small groups. Okay, you need not write share personal reflection. Personal reflection can come as an activity.
Okay.
Then,
Evaluate. Okay, ma'am.
Next, the one is you have to analyze Helen Keller's challenges, evaluate the achievements of what? Of Helen Keller when, even though that she has faced challenges, okay, showing her determination, or you can write that evaluate Helen Keller's, okay, reason for achieving her success even after her challenges. okay, or
Okay.
overcoming her challenges. So that way, what happens, you need not be bluntly giving the answer of her determination and all that. You have to
Okay.
ask students to come out with those, okay, when they
Words.
are doing it. So I'm not asking you to use the exact word, need not put everything in your objective like exit card and all that. You
Okay.
need to write what exactly you want the students to achieve.
Okay.
Okay, that part. Now coming to
Okay.
the lesson, today's part, okay, always remember you have to start with sharing of your objectives to the students. Okay, we'll come across that today. Anyone else has the lesson? Remember your lesson. Yes, Kushi. Sorry, Alicia.
Shall I share, ma'am?
Yeah, please. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
first one is right.
This is my lesson.
Tips used. Yeah, that is fine. In a text, fine. Just link.
Ma'am, here I
Sentences.
have a query that
Sure.
ma'am, in the lesson plan, do we have to give the time for activity? I mean, in the lesson plan, do we have to give some time for the activity also, or can we add in the main teaching only, ma'am?
There is nothing like activity separate and no lesson plan separate. It has to be embedded. You understood what is meaning of embedding? There is nothing like a separate
Yes, ma'am.
activity that you conduct during your lesson. Everything has to come within your classes.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
No, ma'am. This time duration when we are dividing, do we have to like as
That
I
is why I said, see again I'm repeating, there is nothing as separate. Even your time when you're specifying, there is nothing that you have to mention it as separate. Everything comes together.
That is within 40 minutes or 50 minutes of the classroom, ma'am.
Yes. So your activity may be 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. How you're designing it, it is. See, remember, your teaching is not separate, your activity is not separate. It has to be going together. As far as your teaching and learning is concerned, don't say activities are separate. When you say activities, it is for learning purpose and there is no separate teaching. It's a part of your work that you're doing. Activity also becomes the part of the work.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you're writing your lesson plan, remember the first part is sharing your objectives is mandatory.
Yes.
If your previous experienced teacher has not done it, please see that that is done. Okay. And when you're submitting your LP, please ensure that now that you know how objectives have to be written, ensure that your experienced teacher has a proper objective. The reason is Cambridge can analyze your institution through your lesson plans that you're submitting. Okay, so please see that no, your experienced teachers' objectives are smart objectives and very specific objectives. Second aspect is after the prior knowledge, after the sharing of objectives is prior knowledge check. When we are talking of prior knowledge check, okay, you have to go with advanced organizers. You have to start with today. We'll be looking at advanced organizers, prior knowledge check, how exactly we'll be going about doing that. Now, when you're saying advanced organizers, it is a connector which connects the knowledge or the previous knowledge with the new knowledge. Okay, there must be an advanced organizer in your lesson plan. And then you divide your class into minimum 3 to 4 slots. Okay, don't write it at a stretch. 3 to 4 slots where you have your new learning devised along with activities, how you during the activities, how you're conducting a formative assessment. Many times I've seen candidates coming up with questioning as a part of the formative assessment. Remember, questioning once in a while it's okay, but everywhere if I see questioning, your lesson plan will be rejected. You need to have strategies where you use different methods to have your formative assessments happening in the classroom. And don't write written test also everywhere. That looks very odd. Okay, have some hands-on, have some other activities so that you can use it for your lesson plan. Okay, 3 to 4 slots is enough, and don't go beyond 3 objectives, because in a 40 minutes period you will find it very difficult to complete them. Okay, so please make sure, and your lesson plan, remember, must reflect the 3 objectives happening. Okay, now example, Kushi's lesson plan. She has given a blindfold activity saying that identify the emotion. So in your formative assessment, that activity should be there of how they felt actually. Got it? Next is they are explaining their emotions. Okay. So that there should be an activity which actually gives the information of the students explaining the emotions when they were blindfolded. First is identify, second is explain their emotions. Remember, your sequence should be correctly followed when you are writing the lesson plan also. Okay, as per your outcomes. Yes. So I think now you have an idea of SMART objectives. Anyone else would like to share? Anyone else? Please don't raise your hand because I'm in a shared screen. I won't be able to see. Use the. Okay. So I'm just going forward. Unit 1 to Unit 2. Linking. Remember, you had to write the last part in your Unit 1, how you link your Unit 1 to Unit 2. Okay. Last part of your EOR in Unit 1 is how you link your Unit 1 to Unit 2. So there are 2 papers that are given. I'm going to divide you into 2 groups. Role of prior knowledge and prior knowledge. Okay, we'll give 10 minutes for discussion, and then we will stop, and the 2 groups will have to present what is the role of prior knowledge and how it is useful. Okay, just a minute. I'll divide the rooms. Manjari, you are not able to join. Mukambika, please join.
Alisha, now your name is coming as HR Vijay.
What should we do? I got disconnected just before. Hmm.
What is the role of prayer knowledge and how is it useful?
Only two people.
I don't know. Okay, we will write few points.
How much time is given?
10 minutes.
Don't have time to read the newspaper? Don't worry. Download
Is
InShort
that-
to read short news.
Role of prayer knowledge.
Hmm.
Why others did not join?
I don't know.
Okay, then write.
Let's start.
Ah,
Hmm. So we have only one page. Both
ah,
of us will read and give the points for each other, okay?
okay.
Time on.
Hi everyone. Hi Alicia ma'am.
Hi, ma'am.
Time on.
Kamlika ma'am. Actually just say me what exactly happened. I do had a power cut actually. So I just joined. So what's happening? I mean,
We have to discuss about role of prayer knowledge.
role of pair knowledge.
Prayer, yes.
Okay, okay. It's in our e-content?
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, can we have group 1 presenting?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, all. Our topic is like prior knowledge, the role of it in learning. So each student enters the class with the entry behavior, which depends on his particular knowledge, skill, belief, and attitude. So that on the basis of that, those parameters, the student takes the curriculum. The behavior of each student taking a curriculum depends on his or her prior knowledge. So this is very important in designing and planning the curriculum or the content which we are going to transfer to the students in that particular class. So the prior knowledge forms the starting point of any teaching learning process. So I would like my other batchmate to continue.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, prior knowledge can be a knowledge acquired not recently, even long ago through experiences. They have this knowledge already through experiences and it is in an inactive state. Now, by testing the prior knowledge before introducing a topic, by creating a particular environment where we are going to check their prior knowledge, we are activating these inactivative knowledge zones so that the children can from there connect the dots and learn very well. So this is the most important aspect of prior knowledge in our teaching learning when we start our teaching learning.
And prior knowledge also helps for the teacher to understand the student's misconception. Because what happens when the teacher is starting with a new concept, definitely there is definitely little amount of the new concept which is being taught is there with the student. So when the teacher, in fact, starts with the concept and tests the prior knowledge, the teacher will understand whether the students' prior knowledge has got the concepts are clear or not. Because the stronger the misconception, the harder it becomes it becomes very difficult for the teacher to correct on the later on stage. So during the prior knowledge, testing of the prior knowledge, if the students' misconceptions, are there, the teacher can correct it then and there, because later on it becomes very difficult. And the second thing is that it also helps in assimilating the new knowledge. So any kind of ideas or any kind of new information is based upon the existing ideas or the schemas where the children they have already got. So based on the prior knowledge, they build the new information.
Ma'am, I would like to add on to what Manjari ma'am said. So prior knowledge, it plays a significant role in the learning process, as it can help either the student, it can help the student or hinder learning, depending upon the correctness and the relative relevancy. And assessing prior knowledge before starting the learning process, it is very, very important because it shapes new knowledge, and also we can understand the understanding of the students, how far they are able to grasp the subject that we are going to start. And as ma'am said, inaccurate prior knowledge can lead to misconceptions, and it can also hinder learning. And I would like Sindhuri ma'am to carry on.
Yes, ma'am. Along with the points what ma'am has mentioned, so the inactive or insufficient accurate one, that which is not very much accurate, or which is very much like it is not a matchable one for the teacher which she was explaining. If the teacher is not providing an appropriate one, also will lead the learners to hinder the learning. That means they will lose, or they will lose the connectivity of the subject what they are about to learn.
Okay.
And adding on to Sindhuri's point, I would like to mention one more thing is that prior knowledge also helps the teacher to understand the class. In fact, what kind of, from where the teacher is going to start the class. So it helps the teacher to understand that the weaknesses of the class as well as the strength of the class. And from there, the teacher is going to start the lesson. Do you think the teacher needs to go to the beginning or the foundation of the particular concept, or the children already know the foundation? I mean, the concepts are already clear. The teacher has to carry on at the one level of the concept. So it helps the teacher to understand the level of the class and as well as the
Yes.
students.
Right.
As
So let's next move on to the next group, group 2.
I think Alicia is one more.
Yes, ma'am.
Alicia, yes, Alicia.
Yeah, ma'am. As they all said, I want to conclude with the other point. As it is related with the constructivism also, it says that constructing by reconstructing, which says what we learn in the past, the children will try to integrate with the new learnings. So the role of prior knowledge is high for integrating.
Okay, okay. Role of prior knowledge is very important when we look at integrating,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Next, group 2.
Yes, ma'am. So, like for us, it is like how prior knowledge will be taken to the classroom, how it is helpful in the classroom. So here, prior knowledge makes effective teaching, ma'am. It is like it is a root cause. It is a starting of the effective teaching. It makes new lessons more relatable and easier to the group. Also, it helps to bridge the gap between what they already know and also the new concepts. So my friends, our teammates will explain you more.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. For the first one, it acts as a foundation for new learning, ma'am. So it serves as a mental framework that helps the students connect new information to what they have already known. Like example, ma'am, if the student has already understands the basic addition, the learning multiplication becomes easier because that can relate it to a repeated addition. So this connection between the old and the new information helps in constructing the meaning more efficiently. And also, it enhances the comprehension and retention by building on existing knowledge.
Yes.
So, by building this existing knowledge, students will be able to comprehend new content more deeply. They can quickly relate the new materials to something they are familiar with, which makes learning experience more relevant, ma'am, and easy to understand. And also, this will really strengthen their memory map. Memory retention also reduces the likelihood of forgetting.
Okay. Next person.
The next
Yes, ma'am.
point in prior knowledge, ma'am. Yes, uh, we can, based on that prior knowledge, we can modify the pedagogical strategies. The teacher, they can identify the learning gaps or where the students' prior knowledge, based on the teacher can test the prior knowledge of the student while teaching, and during the teaching process she can modify her strategy clearing their basic concepts, because without the prior knowledge they will not be able to build on the new concepts. So it helps us modify the Garima ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I would like to add with that, like when she said that pedagogies, so actually prior knowledge gives the students more working memories and to acquire new knowledge to enhance their learning engagement. So whatever teacher is, this is how, they can build up the confidence if they know something because they have experienced it and they can build up more information, add more information, and that's how teacher will also come to know that okay, if this much children they know, so I can take this different pedagogy to introduce or to take the chapter forward. So that way they can build up more things, and the end product will be that they are practically also aware of the topic.
Very true.
Yeah, ma'am.
Very true.
Yeah, next I would like to add on to Garima ma'am's point, ma'am. It boosts the confidence of the students, ma'am. So when we check the prior knowledge, it obviously boosts the confidence of the children, and it lays a base or foundation for learning new ideas, ma'am. So it's important that to relate the prior knowledge to the present content, we should obviously check their knowledge by correcting them. So this obviously relates, and also students actively construct understanding by connecting new ideas to prior knowledge. That is fostering the critical thinking process, ma'am. So we foster the critical thinking process by comparing their, like, what they knew about the prior knowledge and what are the new knowledge they are going to learn. So how much they knew and from where we have to start. So it fosters the critical thinking as well, ma'am. Yeah. Next, I would like to ask my team member. Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, next person. Next.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to add in this point, ma'am. Prior knowledge helps to understand the diverse situation of a student. It differs with student to student and their journey alongside. We need to understand the situation of a student and their existing knowledge.
Very true.
According to which we can take few steps for prior knowledge. They are create, construct, and reconstruct.
Okay, okay, fine. Next is Saujanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I don't go with this points, but I go with the content which you shared, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Ma'am, this prior knowledge, yeah, the teaching process benefits from this understanding students' prior knowledge, allowing teachers to design the instructions that is which is meaningful for the students, and also this creates a proper framework. Students from different backgrounds and their journey bring different knowledge and beliefs, so that this prior knowledge will help them to understand, even to help them understand, and even help the teacher to understand which level is the teaching level and all those things. So that is why the prior knowledge is very important, and also it helps to understand the diverse situation of the student.
Yes, very true. We need to know what level the student is before we start. So it will be at different levels, but catering to different levels also must happen during our classes.
Yes, yes.
Any other aspect anyone would like to share? Okay, so summing up, these are the major aspects that we will be emphasizing based on prior knowledge. One is prior knowledge is to actively create meaning by constructing and reconstructing ideas about reality. Okay, the reason for prior learning is they learn from their past and integrate it to present experiences and perceptions of the reality. There are strong misconceptions, and to overcome these misconceptions, we need to check the prior knowledge. Then next one is, it will be a mismatch between what the student is expecting, okay, what is student is expected as per the curriculum and what knowledge the student has actually in the class. There will be a total mismatch if prior knowledge is not checked, okay, and it will start the imbalance from the beginning of your class. So meaningful learning, being intentional, authentic, social, collaborative, and active, will encourage participation for better learning outcomes. So generally, what happens is teachers prefer questioning. But understand the real culprit is hidden somewhere. Will you be able to analyze all the students and find out if they are having the prior knowledge required for the class? Remember, even your topmost student may have some learning gap. If not tested, will not be revealed. So you will have to ensure that every child is tested on this parameter so that they are not having the gap to move further in their lesson. Okay. So the next one is based on the experienced teachers class. Yes. Anyone
Ma'am,
has
I have a doubt here. Sometimes it may so happen with the teachers that the topic that they are going to start is a completely new topic, which the students have not studied in their previous classes.
Can you tell me any such topic, ma'am, and the class?
For example, for fifth grade, ma'am, the children have no idea about finite verbs and non-finite verbs.
But they have an idea about verbs.
verbs. So we can just connect with the verbs and then classify on the type
Yes,
of.
you will have to. See, anything a child comes in, remember, even the child that is in pre-primary comes with certain notions in his head. And understand everything and anything is connected. Now, this part, why I'm emphasizing, just I remembered, when you're writing your assignments, what I understood is, no, you're having an idea of theories, you're thinking theories are like compartments. No, airtight compartments, they are not linked together. Okay, every theory doesn't work out in every situation. It is the flexibility that you're working out with the theories actually make your learning happen in the classrooms. So that is where you have to write in your assignments that, see, many of you think that behaviorism is a written off type of theory for your classrooms, but you set your classroom rules, right? What theory does it belong to? You instruct your students, you give instructions. These are things to follow. This is how you write. What theory does it belong to? So remember, all the theories are not airtight compartments. These are all mixed and matched. How you understand, you present it, that is what is more important. Because the one theory that works for me in my classroom, for my strategy, will not work for you in your classroom. We are all human beings, so each one of us may have a different mix and match of theories. Otherwise, all our assignments will be uniform, isn't it? So that is the reason, please understand, you don't have to write theories as airtight compartments. When you are writing, you have to understand what that theory means and know, apply it when you are writing. I have understood this is what the theory is, and I was doing it like this, but I was not able to make a connection. Now I understand this is what theory is. Okay, so this type of working is required when it comes to your EOL in your unit 1. Okay. So your next activity is based on the experienced teacher's class. Okay. And the theories that you have learned. Identify the new learning that you would like to practice and put it in the chat box. Remember, it should be correlated with the theory. You should correlate it with the theory part. You understood? You have a topic, isn't it? Now we have seen an experienced teacher's class. You know how exactly the teacher has gone into introduction of new topic. So when you're introducing a new topic, on what theory you would like to introduce that particular topic? You are able to hear me?
Yes.
On what theories? Are you all able to hear me? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay, Neelam says constructivism and active learning. Fine. Other theories? Yeah, others, please put in the chat box. Okay, some Chaitanya, very good. Social learning, yes, Revati, very good. Metacognition, very good, Sinduri, right? See, it need not be a restricting yourself to this particular theory, but I'm just asking you so that you will have the thought process. Okay, this is what I'm going to. Veena ma'am, think, pair and share is not a theory. Zone of proximal development is a theory. Yes, ma'am. Cognitive learning. Aarti,
Activity will
ma'am,
be think, share,
creativism
pair.
is
It
not
will
a
be
theory.
based
Yes.
on
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Think, pair, share is the activity, and it will be based on zone of proximal development. That's
Okay,
what I meant
right,
there.
right. Aarti, ma'am, creativism is not a theory. Experiential learning, very good, Tehseen, right? Connectivism, fine. Social constructivism, good. And cognitive learning, Garima, yes, correct. Parveen, constructivism, collaborative and inquiry-based, fine. Kolb's learning theory, fine. Now remember, please make a note of all these theories. See, why I asked this question is, this will... Are you able to hear me? I think my internet is pausing and coming. See, why
Your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Even I have
I
the
asked you
knowledge.
all this theory is that lot of theories, and you can write about these theories in your reflection and learning of unit 2. I'm not asking you to do all this, but at least 5 to 6 you will get, isn't it, when your friends are writing. So please make a note of all these theories so that you will have an option of what exactly you can take according to your topic and utilize it in your lesson plan.
Ma'am, is creativism a theory, ma'am?
No, no, no. Creativism. That's what I said, Aarti, that creativism is not a theory. Okay. Next, again, we have another group discussion. Now, remember the first part, introducing prior knowledge. We have done how to go about doing your prior knowledge and using active learning in your lesson plan. That is in your content, we are going to check. So these are the questions. Group 1, browse through active learning is better learning and advanced organizers. 2 topics you have. Discuss subjects wise in subject wise group. In group 1, take a particular subject. Okay, different activities, how they engage and motivate learners. That is the topic. Discuss, and then you write benefits present for at least 2 activities as per your subjects. Okay, this is an in the group independent activity. First, you have to work independently and then present it as a group. Okay, second question is, how can you use an advanced organizers in your respective subjects? Okay. Group 2, explore teachers toolkit from teaching today. That is page numbers 139 to 367. So you can break it among yourself. Active methods and discuss in subject groups about what difference does active learning methods make from teacher-centered methods. Active learning and teacher-centered. So if you're using active learning, how does it help in teacher-centered methods? Okay. Clear? Any questions? So I'm giving 15 minutes. It's 10:17. Okay. So around 10:30, we will be meeting, taking a 5 minutes working break and come back. Okay.
Ma'am, can you explain second question again, ma'am? Group 2 activity.
Group 2 is read this teachers today, teaching today from pages 139 to 367. You can just browse through the key points. I'm not going to ask you to sit and read through the entire document. So here it's active methods and discuss in your subject groups, or if you have subject members, discuss with them what difference does active learning methods make when you are having a teacher-centered method or in your classroom, teacher-centered classroom.
Okay,
Got
ma'am.
it?
Thank you. Yes,
Now
ma'am.
remember,
Thank you.
it's a contradicting fact. When will active learning have a work be beneficial?
Student.
When it is student-centered.
Class.
So you have to talk in the contrasting way. When it is teacher-centered, how Now you can ask a question, so others also will be understanding about it. Okay, where are others? They're joining. Okay.
Ma'am, suppose while we are doing an activity on sound, initially I asked some 15 children in the class to come up with one word related to sound, which they have learned so far. I put it on the board, and then I say throughout the class discussion, you see where all we are using these terms which you have used and what you have understood about what we are discussing. Can this be called a graphic organizer?
That can be called, see, you can call it, one thing is two options are there. One, you use KWL when you're saying.
Yeah.
Second option is you can say it's a word bingo.
Okay.
So word bingo also can be played in the class.
Okay.
Okay, for the benefit of everyone, remember advanced organizers, you need not restrict yourself to KWL chart. Okay, you can search Google, you will have all the different types of advanced organizers that you can have. Okay, only aspect, the difference between an advanced organizer and using questioning and prior knowledge is that advanced
Ma'am, your
organizer,
voice is
every
breaking.
child participates. See, for example, you have a 5-minute, say, slip test or surprise test. Now, that also is an advanced organizer. The reason is you're ensuring every child is participating in it. Okay, so that you will ensure. But remember, your questions should be connected with what they should previously know so that there is no learning gap that is coming. Okay, between the prior knowledge or whatever they have learned earlier, if it goes wrong in their head, remember it is going to make a wrong connection in the new learning. In order to ensure that there is no wrong connections that are made, we have to see that. That is the reason it's given a name as advanced organizer, that every child in your class participates in that particular activity. Clear, all of you? Okay, now let us listen. See, you have doubts, please do ask me so that your assignments will be more clear. Okay. Yes, first group, you can present.
Yes, ma'am, we have first group, right?
Yeah. Group 1, what happened?
Shall I start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. So I'll be sharing a few things like the topic is economic ties among different countries of the world. So here I will be sharing a map of the world.
Okay.
And I'll ask the students, they have a prior knowledge of the different countries of the world. And I will ask them, can you see the map?
Yes.
Shared? Okay. So here
are you going to do it orally, Shampa ma'am?
Okay. I'll not share, I'll stop sharing.
No, my question you didn't understand. My question is, are you going to ask the students orally or give a map and ask them to point out in that map?
So I shared the map. I'll give them a map on the screen. Because on the smart screen, I will give them a map, smart board.
Okay.
And I'll ask them, I'll give them 1 minute time to study the map.
Okay. So how are you ensuring every child participates?
Yes, ma'am, I'll tell you. I'm coming to that. Okay. So they will study the map for a minute and they themselves will choose. I'll divide, it's a 30 student class. I'll divide them into 5 groups. So each group will have 6 students. Okay. And I'll tell them to choose the country to which India will connect economically based on their economical structure, their political relations, and also the communicative processes. These are the three parameters on which their study will be based. Okay. So here I stop sharing and I give them a collaborative Excel, which I have prepared for them. So the topic is economic ties among the world. Group 1, the country that they have chosen. Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5. It has come as Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5. Okay?
Okay.
And there are 6 students. So they will collaborate for 10 minutes and each student will work on particular parameter. For example, 2 students will work on the economic conditions of 2 countries. Suppose they have chosen Thailand. India with Thailand. What is the economic condition and on what products the country will collaborate? And so they will write down their parameter objectives in these cells of the Excel. It is a shareable Excel. So each of them will do the activity for 10 minutes. They will come back. Each group will present and we will find the common factors on which the countries collaborate economically.
Okay, is this an advance or prior knowledge check or new learning?
It's the prior knowledge is the geographical map of the world. The advance.
What is that they will be doing with that map?
With that map, the distance between the 2 countries, they will go deep into the economical conditions of the country. They will go into the political ties between the 2 countries. For example,
my question you didn't understand. My question is, what is the prior knowledge your students will be doing with the map that you have shared?
Location.
Location. Okay. Right. So that is where again I'm asking this question. Are you going to give a physical copy and ask them to make the location? Or are you going to ask them to come to the smart board and locate it for you? Every child, can you ask them to come to the smart board and locate?
Giving them a world map, physical.
So that becomes your prior knowledge. Now this becomes your activity where you're connecting the prior knowledge with the new knowledge. Okay, ma'am? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, others?
May I present,
Ma'am, may I?
May I
Wrong,
present?
please do share. The reason is, if you get it corrected, then no, for you in your presentation, it becomes easy.
May I present, ma'am?
Yes, please.
So, ma'am, this I have taken a prose topic from grade 8. So this is basically Summit Within. So this is an autobiography. So first, I'm going to ask the students to create a mind map. So I'll be creating the mind map and they have to come and write it down. So what leads to success? Where each and every student will come and they will have to write one word on the board, like serve, push, go, or whatever, goals, work, focus, persist, passion, determination. So they will have to write it down on the board. So after taking up the topic, so this is basically a biography and the author, the chapter is on the Major HPS Ahluwalia, who has described his feelings and experience standing on the Mount Everest. So first one, what I would like to do, this becomes the prior knowledge. So once I get the answers from the students, definitely I'm going to take up this topic.
Okay.
So after taking up the topic, I'm going to end this particular topic with an activity which I have done it recently. So interview of an eminent personality whom you have come across. And the student will have to frame 10 questions and present it in a form of a PPT.
Okay, got it.
So this becomes the ending activity.
Okay, so they have an system access?
Yes, we in the sense, ma'am, we have a room where we have the audio and visual present AV room. So where I have taken them down and they have presented and they have also explained, like they have taken the interview. So they have come up with 10 questions and they have presented. And one of them, in fact, ma'am, he came up with his voiceover also. It was a lovely the way they have done. I mean, probably he could not, record the person's voice. So he gave the voiceover and he came up with the video also.
Okay.
It was a lovely the way they did this activity. So this is how I have taken up a prose class. I mean, this is how a topic.
So now when you're taking up your unit 2 lesson also, video is not required because video, they will not be accepting if it is greater than 1 MB.
Okay, yes.
1 or 2 MB, that's it. So you can go with no audio clipping, you can go. Okay, you can have snaps.
Okay, okay. What about the PPT
Photos
presentation?
you can, but photos avoid directly taking the students some side post something when they're presenting. Like that it can happen. But the written work evidences are a must.
Okay, so whatever they have given me, ma'am, can I take a printout and then attach it?
Students presentation, you can't do a printout. You can show it as a mail snapshot that they have sent to you.
Yes, yes. Okay.
And no, while presenting, they turn and stand. No, you have to take a photo.
Fine, ma'am.
That their face is half only visible, that they are standing in present.
Fine, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. Fine, ma'am.
Ma'am, may I next?
So is it correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's correct. It's correct.
Thank you.
Yes, Sinduri.
Ma'am, it is an activity conducted for grade 5, ma'am. So after the prior knowledge of reading a lesson, like I have asked the students to find out all the hard words for them. So once they are ready with the words which they feel it is difficult, it seems to be new or hard for them to remember. So after that, like the students were divided into groups, and then they were asked to play a game, that is word wall creation. So first I have given a word, ma'am. Then then the next continuing group should connect with the letter, the last letter of the word which I gave, and they have to give a connectivity word for them.
Okay.
So like vice versa, all the other groups also will be giving the words. So each group, they will be discussing among themselves what word can be given. And after giving the word, they should also tell the meaning of that word.
Okay.
Not just giving, they should also give the meaning. So by
related to
the lesson, ma'am. The lesson, like grade 5, if I say that the hedgehog and the scribblings, it is a lesson.
Okay.
So,
is this a prior activity?
No, ma'am, it is after the lesson explanation.
You start with the prior activity. What is the prior one that you're going to?
Prior activity.
What is the advanced organizer that you're planning?
No, ma'am, advanced organizer means like during the explanation itself, I'll be giving the meanings and the hard words, right? So before itself.
Sinduri, that is not a prior knowledge activity. Okay. What is the activity that you will do in order to connect the previous learning with the current new learning?
Then can I share the flow chart of the lesson, like the happening of the lesson in a form of a flow chart, like the.
No, that is not prior knowledge, right? That is not prior knowledge. Just think about it. Let you just listen to what others are saying. Then maybe you'll get an idea. Veena ma'am, yes ma'am.
Ma'am, can I present?
Yes,
Just
please, you can.
Yeah. So, ma'am, here for an introductory class on the chapter sound for grade 8, like I had discussed with you, what I did was I asked the children to give one word related to sound which they already knew. And one or two children, I asked them, do they know the meaning? Few of them knew, few of them did not know. But they were familiar with certain words which were listed out. And this list, I asked them that they have to use it actively in the class. That is, during the classroom interaction, when we started learning about the chapter on sound, when we started doing experiments, there were certain places where these words would figure. So I asked the children to actively, call out and say, my word has been used here or can be used here, even if it is not used here. So that the children
Yes.
are actively involved. They know that they already knew that word, which is prior knowledge, and we are extending it by doing some experiment or some explanation in the class. But ma'am, what I did here was, even though I've written chart paper, I did not do it on a chart paper. I wrote it on the board and then made them do. So I don't have the proof to show that this was done.
Ma'am, if you're doing it on the board also, take a snap of it when you are doing in for your unit 2.
Okay.
Okay, once your lesson plan is approved. And another thing what I understood is, ma'am, towards the exit ticket, you need not start your KWL from the starting. From your beginning. You can use it as an exit card also.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay, what things they already in the board. They want to know, because that again you have shared the outcomes there, what they have learned. So it becomes an exit card.
Okay.
Okay. So that you can see, KWL need not be as an advanced organizer always. It can be also as a learning method as well as an exit card.
Okay.
Okay, you can use that too, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to share? Or shall I go to group 2? Group 2, can you? We'll be talking again about advanced organizers. If you have not got an idea, we'll again be talking. You tell the lesson, then we will help you out. There are others also here who are English teachers, so definitely they'll help you out. Okay? Yes. Can we have the group 2 presenting? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, like as we have discussed, like advanced organizer. So these are all related to this active learning methods. So where the students are being involved, they are like so this active learning methods are crucial as they engage students in dynamic activities where their cognitive skills are being active for a long time and being connected with the prior knowledge and also the prior classes and all. With I think it can be integrated with other subjects also, where like the topic can be connected to other topic from other subject. If you're taking English, it's not only to the English, EVS can also be connected there with those words. So that is where the active learning happens in a class. So here promoting deeper understanding is the same thing, and retention. They enhance critical thinking, collaboration, and real world experience applications, making learning more meaningful and enjoyable. For example, in an English class, if we ask about when they going from school to home, in a bus or by walking or whatever it is, like what are the things you observe around you? It's a real world application. So that's like real time experience, and also really they will learn something. It can be nouns, if we can just basic
I'm just
nouns.
going
If
to
we can
pause you here. Kushi, I'm just going to pause you here.
Yeah.
Your question was about discussing the different active learning methods
Yeah, ma'am, it is there.
teacher-centered methods.
Yeah, so I told about active learning methods because the teacher-centric method is like restricted, ma'am. It's like only one way through. The teacher explains and the students are just like passive learners there, like they are inactive most of the time. So our
So can you just give us an example?
Yeah,
remember in your EOL from unit 2 onwards, unit 1 it's more about theory writing. Unit 2 onwards, you have to connect with your classroom experiences.
Sure. Like for example, verb. We have discussed about introducing verb. If we make the students like to call upon and do dumb shallats kind of thing, it's an active learning. If we directly tell that like a dance is a verb, we the like where our hands and legs are being moved. This is just a teacher-centric method where teacher is telling them. It's not like students involved one. So playing dumb arts is an active learning method where students are being involved and the students are also guessing the answer and everybody is being involved there.
Okay.
Okay. So my others will go ahead with the differences.
Yeah. Here I would like to add, ma'am, what Kushi ma'am has said about the activity called verb. So they do review and they apply in this activity, dumb shall act. art, ma'am. So they do review and they apply. So this is like in the circle, it's an active learning method where they learn by doing the activity, ma'am.
Okay.
And the key difference is, yeah. The key differences between active learning and passive learning is, ma'am, here the in the active learning the student will engage, ma'am. So active learning increases involvement and teacher centered method often limited. So whereas in a passive learning, it's a teacher limit will be there, whereas in active learning all the learners involved in learning the things. And here if you're talking about the critical thinking, ma'am, it encourage in active learning, whereas it's less emphasis on teacher centered methods. So this is the difference. Now I would like to give to other team members.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, when it comes to the verbs, as an example, like as ma'am has told, like we have different components like we need to do, like do, review, apply, collaborate, and explore. So for active learning methods, ma'am, here as Kushi ma'am has told, like the students will be acting as like run, jump, and dance. They do by physical demonstrating their meaning. And then they review, ma'am. Like after the activity, the students will review which action they performed and identify the verbs associated with it. Like, and they apply these things. Like example in groups, the students create the sentences or short stories using these verbs, ma'am. They acted out and apply their understanding in the contest. This is the application of these verbs after they had an hands-on activity. And after applying, then they collaborate. Like they be in pairs, the students will be paired up and describe the actions to each other, ma'am. And the partner has to guess the verb. Like example, if one of the student is running, they have to guess it as he is running. So the rest one is explore. So this is an extended level of the topic. Like they take simple verbs like run and then they transform them into ran or running. That means they apply in different tenses, changes in their real life situation, and they apply these in their real life situations. When it
Yes.
Yes, when it comes to teacher centered methods, ma'am, the same verb. Here the teacher writes a list of verbs on the board and the students copy them down. And then the teacher goes over the list of verbs with the students, explaining each one. And apply is the teacher gives a worksheet, ma'am, where the students underline verbs in pre-written sentences. There here the collaboration will be very limited, ma'am, where each student completes their own worksheet without discussing with the peers. There will not be any collaboration. It will be as an individual worksheet only. And here the exploration will be also limited, where the teacher demonstrates changing the tensions. Here the teacher only will be teaching, and the child will be as a passive learner and ask the questions to copy with no exploration or discovery involved here.
Okay. You have any slides here?
No, ma'am, we had made our own like note of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I would,
You
I
want
would,
it, ma'am? I had. I'll copy
yes,
it.
ma'am.
You can stop sharing.
I would like to add on to the difference between active. Ma'am,
Yeah. Yes.
am I
Yes,
audible,
please.
ma'am?
Yeah, you are audible.
Ma'am, I would like to add on to the difference between teacher-centered and active learning. So, in active learning, the culture of right answer is avoided. Like, for example, if I ask my children, like learners, to observe what will they observe if a cold bottle is kept outside for some time. So they might come up with an answer like it will become warm. But the teacher, when the teacher is explaining, she's expecting condensation. So they are right in their observation.
Understood.
Here, if it is teacher centered, teacher will say which process do you see or what is the process involved. But here we are the observation skill, the thinking skill, we are not promoting. So it is like thinking in a different dimension. So here the teacher's role here is to relate their observation to the topic which is taught in the class. So that way the right answer, it should be correct. That way we are, if we are promoting that in teacher centered classes, we are stopping critical thinking, analytical thinking. So that way we can promote critical and analytical thinking by active learning.
Okay. Okay.
I would like to continue it, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Saujanya.
Yeah. Ma'am, active learning methods itself says that shifting the focus from the teacher-centered to the student-centered. So when we are actually focusing it to the student-centered, that means we are focusing on the students' and entire involvement, students' engagement here. So how is that benefiting a student? It's the student encouragement, obviously. When we are encouraging them, student develop this analyze, apply and creative methods that will definitely develop in their critical thinking. Apart from that, when we are going ahead with collaboration and communication, students actively participate and apply knowledge in real life scenarios. So active learning often leads to the better retention and understanding. So according to your question, how is this active learning in the real example? So we have taken the English topic of verbs, which is a basic classes actually, because all are not English teachers. We just took a topic of verb here, like a verb, like for example, a peer teaching. In small groups, students explain a different types of verbs. It might be a linking verb, auxiliary verb, and they give the examples. This peer teaching also helps the reinforce understanding as students explain the concepts in their own words. And creative writing, verb challenges, sentence building, and these are verb tense timelines. These are the examples, or sorry, these are the activities where we want students to involve into. By this different activities, entire student group will be student group involvement will take place. That is how the examples, activities, and active learning basis justice.
Okay. I've seen everyone presenting. Garima ma'am, can you? Garima and
Yes,
Aarti.
I have a bit of internet issue. That's why. So what all, ma'am? They all are saying here. We are just. I hope I am audible, ma'am.
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So this active learning and student-centric and teacher-centric, actually, if we see all three, we need these three combination, right? So first, when teacher is there, she has come up with the plan. With the plan, now what is doing when she is entered in the class, now she is coming, she's changing from students, teacher-centric to student-centric by creating an activity. So when she is creating an activity, she is involving everybody. So the plan, what is going to be taught in the class, it is already there in teacher's mind. Only thing is how she is delivering it in the class and how children are executing what she has planned. After that, when, like, Neelam has said that a child has kept a water bottle from refrigerator and she was asking that, what will become after some time. So children will say that cold water will turn into warm water or it will become normal. So now that the teacher knowledge will come, that she will say, no, this is about, condensation and what will happen. So teacher is then telling them about the terminologies of the things. So she is coming with the plan. She is doing the activity by involving everybody. Then it becomes the active learning in the class by the student involvement and giving her knowledge and giving more her inputs by telling them that what exactly the terminologies related to the chapter. So that's how she can take that active learning to another level so that children can do on their own practically when they are in the lifetime scenario. So this is the cycle
Ma'am,
which.
ma'am, I would like to add, ma'am.
Yes, Parveen.
Yeah, ma'am. So here the teacher should be very clear with the objective, ma'am, to make the classroom act to be an active learning. So it should be like, for example, as all our team were talking about verbs. So the objective is very clear about identifying, demonstrating, and using action words in verbs in sentences. So the teacher should be very clear about the strategies what she is going to apply in the class, so that she can make the classroom into active learning. So, like flashcards, dumshell arts, and verb stations. So, these are all the strategies where we can go with the learning by doing it. So, it becomes active learning.
Very true, very true. Now here there is one more thing as the example of condensation was taken. Now condensation may be a new word for the student, but remember when you are looking at the child, now you're looking sometimes what happens for the teacher is you're going to be straightforward looking only for the objective, whether they are getting the idea of condensation, because turning ice into water, they say, but no, you will have to have another skill also developed among the students for these type of concepts, that is known as observation skill. So what does the child actually look for? How do you ensure what? Now remember that again is something that is related to objective, but it's not main. So when you're writing your teacher column, your activity for teacher column, ensure that you're giving those cues of what you expect the student to do. For example, in condensation, instead of after doing the activity, the child telling that, no, ice is melted into water, okay, your focus should be, now remember, they have to observe condensation, right? So you ask the kids, the bottle is closed, okay? What happens on the surface of the bottle? Certain cues you have to leave for the student in your teacher activity, okay? Then diversions will not happen. A more focused observation happens, wherein you're also building their observation skill. Now, when you are, for example, you're talking about finite and infinite verbs also, in a given sentence, you have to emphasize on what is actually finite in that particular sentence, what is actually infinite in that particular sentence, and why is it infinite, you will have to ensure. See, after teaching the topic, I'm not talking about during the topic. Now, why this emphasis is needed in your teacher column is, now, one is diversions will be less because you're already telling them what to focus on, one. Second aspect is, if in the process of your teaching, remember when you talk about something and I talk about something, let us say, if I say tea, each one will be having a different thought process going on in our heads. Isn't it? Yes, some may think of their mother's tea. Some may think of, no, okay, I drank a good tea from some railway station. So the child is also going to make these connections only in the classroom. So what do you want actually the child to do? You will have to present it very clearly in your teacher column. You got what I'm saying? Yes, when you're defining your activities, you're giving your activities, fine. But what you want the child to focus on? And remember, your learning gaps will also come out when the child is expressing those type of misconceptions. And please make a note, keep your journal, make a note of the misconceptions that the child is getting. And know that becomes a very good learning and a reflection for you in your documentation. Okay. Yes, Khushi.
I have a small doubt. Like checking with the prior knowledge, usually when we take grammar topics or science topics, we will have that prior knowledge from. When we start a new lesson, so there can we go with the value and the theme of the lesson as like
No,
introduction
it can be, for
activity?
example, you're talking of Helen Keller.
Yeah.
Now you conducted a blindfolded activity of emotions.
Yeah, that's what introduction. Yes, ma'am.
So that is your prior knowledge. It's not called introduction. Now the introduction is your prior knowledge.
Okay.
Got it?
So
So
that's
I
what
said
that.
a word cloud. Remember I told you word cloud. That is your advanced organizer. Okay. Now you will not, your introduction of the lesson means your prior knowledge.
So here in that lesson, we want the students to know about the disability and the challenges faced. So that is like overall the value and the theme of the lesson also. That can be taken as prior knowledge plus the like the overall lesson, what we want to share. Like
that is the prior knowledge. Don't tell that is the overall lesson. Overall lesson may
Oh,
come
not
in.
overall. Okay. Okay.
Okay, that is the prior knowledge. For example, if it's but story is there, no letter to God. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Letter to God.
you can have a...
Yes, ma'am. Letter to God.
So in that you can have a wish box type, where students are asked to write something that they want from God. That becomes your prior knowledge.
Ma'am, this lesson I wanted to add up, ma'am, when I did it in the class, I started with a form of a debate where do they believe in God or not. So there was one group who told that we don't believe in God. And the other group told me that they believe in God, and they had to justify that why they believed in God. So there was a small 5 minutes debate before starting up the lesson. So this also
that
can
becomes your, yes, that becomes your advanced organizer. Ask them to
Okay.
put the ideas in a table. Okay, consolidated, that becomes your advanced organizer. You can submit the audio evidence also as an advanced organizer.
Okay, so this this becomes the advanced organizer. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Any other yes, Sinduri, you were raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, for the verbs activity, I'm in confusion is what would be the advanced organizers. So the
Okay.
words.
So first thing is, which grade are you teaching this in?
Grade, I think grade 3, I guess, ma'am.
So let us say you're introducing first time verbs for them.
Yes, ma'am.
Use flashcards.
Okay.
Okay, you can use flashcards of different actions happening.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, in the same way, the activity which I have selected, so can I write all the words on the board as the advanced organizer?
No, your flashcards is your advanced organizer. Individual student recognizing what action is happening.
Okay.
The picture flashcards you have, right, Sinduri?
Yes, ma'am. Huh.
So that becomes
activity or game comes under this advanced organizer.
Yeah, that also can become. You can have a game also and no ask what is he doing. So what happens is, say one child says he is kicking the ball. Now that boy comes and the boy who was asked should take the ball and throw. Now this boy asks another student, what is he doing? It's like a chain question. Remember, the teacher is not asking. It's the student who is asking. So then he's catching the ball. What is he doing? Catching. So that again becomes a verb. So those becomes advanced organizers.
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Ma'am, I have, in fact, Rafia ma'am, when she asked about the new topic, which was the finite and the non-finite. So over here, can we relate with the subject and the object? See, when we start, we need not always tell them
Yes,
the
you
type.
can. You can. You
See,
can.
because,
Subject and
yeah,
object, you
yes,
can start with.
yes. So that becomes the advanced organizer. No, ma'am?
Organizer, yes.
Okay,
Ask the
okay.
student, like sentences, asking students to identify what is the object of the given sentence and ask them to exchange and correct. That also becomes your advanced organizer.
Ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am, I want to add, ma'am. Just I want to check whether I've understood or not. Yeah, ma'am. So, ma'am, advanced organizer here. If I'm there is a lesson in ninth grade, ma'am. Reach for the top. So for them, can I put like the interview of like real life of Nick Vujicic interview on video
No.
visual?
What is the lesson name?
Reach for the top.
Reach for the top. Where
It's an
attitude is
interview.
altitude. It is proved.
It's
No,
basically,
actually,
It's
that's
about
what I
attitude,
feel.
isn't it? Bringing attitude.
yeah. And positive
So
attitude,
you,
which is ultimate altitude for reaching their success. So attitude should be built up
okay,
in the
now
students.
that you can culminate the lesson with, you will have to start the lesson with personalities and why did they succeed.
That's what, ma'am. Can I
Either
take
a
the
partial,
example of? Can I show the interview of Nick Vujicic? I'm asking, ma'am.
no, that
Where
is
Nick
what I'm
Vujicic is
saying.
an
When you're taking one, how does it relate with the lesson of attitude? Your attitude of determination comes when you take multiple personalities and ask the students what they have in common.
okay. So I can add with Nick Vujicic. I can add more personalities, and I can show them the
Yes.
interview or any visuals,
No
right?
interview. Why are you again sticking on to interview? Interview is not required. You take Sachin Tendulkar, you take movie actors, you take
No,
different
no, ma'am.
personalities from
Actually,
different scenes.
ma'am, why I'm stressing on interview because Nick Vujicic has recently come to this Hyderabad and he has given a, an interview or I can say the speech, motivational
No,
speech in college here, Malaret.
ma'am, can I add on to this? Like what?
Parveen, there are so many people who have given. Now that
So in that
doesn't come
interview,
under your
he
lesson.
yeah. So it is determined his life and he has faced the hurdles and all. So if student actions like how was he impacted? So can I connect this with the lessons that was organized and asking now?
Parveen, what I'm saying is, what is the objective of the lesson doesn't match with the activity that you are planning to do. Your objective of the lesson is that determination leads to success, or attitude is the altitude for success. Now, in that case, one person's interview, how does it actually bring out that objective of that lesson? You tell me that. He has just motivated, but that is not going to actually help you achieve the objective of the lesson. Okay, it may be a good speech that you can give it during a CCA or during your free period just to motivate students. But when you're starting the lesson, your objective of the lesson becomes very, very important. So your focus should be on how the students get the idea of determination, how they can cultivate determination, how they can get the positive attitude. Now, with one interview, will they get?
Yes.
They will not
No,
be
ma'am,
getting.
no. So I have to add more multiple personalities. That will be the advice.
That is what I'm saying. Don't take interview as a consideration.
Okay. Their biographies or lifestyles
You
I
take
can.
interview as a consideration, your time will not be sufficient. And remember, your class videos should never cross more than 3 minutes. Some teachers keep 10 to 12 minutes video. Remember, it is diverting your class. It's not. And even in your Cambridge lesson plans, if you're showing videos, 2 to 3 minutes only it should be. Please do not cross more than 3 minutes because your lesson plan and your entire assignment will get rejected.
Then,
Okay.
ma'am, can I like know, ma'am, what we can put as an advance organizer for this
1
lesson?
minute, let me hear. I think Manjari wants to say something
Ma'am,
about this.
adding it to this Parvin ma'am's point, what I feel, ma'am, reach for the top, can it be the qualities? What are the qualities required to reach for the top? So that could
Yes.
be the in a form of a mind map or whatever. Okay, so
That
you can,
can be.
yeah, mapping can be.
You can have a personality questions
Exactly,
also.
personality question also. So what are the personal traits? I mean, what are the qualities a person need to have to reach the top? Parvin
You
ma'am.
understood,
Yeah, got it.
Parveen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, what is my question is, ma'am, what advance organizer we can put for this
That
lesson?
is what she was telling. That is what she's telling. Qualities, mind map.
Qualities, mind map.
That will be the like moral, no, ma'am. They'll learn after the lesson.
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
no, no.
After
Yeah,
the
ma'am.
You
Ma'am,
should
attendance,
good.
start
No,
with.
no.
they
Now
develop
remember,
that.
1 minute,
They
Parveen, you're
develop that.
talking about 9th class.
Yes, ma'am.
So
So
ninth
after
class
they,
means they already know these words and you're going to recall them, then connect it with the story. Towards the end, you're going to ask, how did this character in the story achieve it with all these qualities? That is your
so we
exit
can,
card.
yes, ma'am. So we can put SWOT analysis here, ma'am, for their own.
No, not
Acha,
SWOT analysis.
acha.
Parveen, you're confusing actually advanced organizer with an exit ticket.
Yeah, I'm not actually still, ma'am. Advanced organizer, I didn't
Advanced
understand it.
organizer is connecting their prior knowledge to new knowledge. So first,
Okay.
no, Parveen, actually the problem I'll tell you, because no, many of us are not clear about what objectives are and outcomes are. So when your objectives, that is why I said you will have to work on understanding what an objective of the lesson is, what the curriculum aims at. Then you will get clarity on what advanced organizer I should use for this lesson so that this objective I will reach by the end of the lesson. Got it? So first you have to understand what exactly the curriculum expects out of this lesson. Remember why most of the teachers are not able to perform when it comes to your board exams or the question setter is getting diverted. The reason is they are not clear about the objective of the curriculum. See, if we are showing a question paper, how do? We open the and we start preparing. We don't link it with the objective. I'm not saying textbook is not important, but what is the objective of that particular lesson? That is more important. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll
Right,
give
right.
you more insights if you need once after this session is over. So advanced organizers provide a structure or scaffolding that allows students to organize information about the subject under consideration. According to Kipman and Shaw, there are two categories of advanced organizers: expository and comparative. Expository organizers function to provide learner a conceptual framework for unfamiliar material, and a comparative organizer is used when the knowledge is acquired is relatively familiar to the learner. So finite, infinite verb, you start with expository material. And remember, Manjari told about debate. Debate comes under comparative advanced organizer. Okay. So there are two types. If the learner is already aware of some part of the topic, you can go with comparative. No need of this many details in your case, but understand there are two types of advanced organizers. Now, when you're designing your learning, advanced organizer should always be the first part. Then your learning activities that organize information. Now remember, don't forget coherency here. Okay, you should have a coherency. Learning activities will be connecting the advanced organizer and new information that you're going to put in your lesson plan. So what were the aspects of, we'll anyway do this as an activity further, so I'm not giving here as a chat activity. What were the aspects of planning that you will be taking care? How can you plan that your classes will be enhancing their learning? So some part we have already discussed. Just putting it in the chat box, because some of you have talked about how I can involve. So now, yeah, now we will have this debate. Active learning should involve activity, one group. So group one. Group two will say active learning need not involve activity-based learning, but it should involve students and engage them in learning. Got it? Got the debate question? Group one will say it should involve an activity. Group two will say it is not required for an activity, but the classroom process should involve students and engage them in learning. Clear? So I'll give you 6-7 minutes to prepare. Now it's 24, 11:30 we will 35, 5 minutes break. I'll close at 11:30. Okay, 5 minutes break and we'll have the debate. Take a break, ma'am. Take a break and come.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, yes. All of you can come back. We'll start. So yes, group 1, you can present your 4 topic.
Yes, ma'am. Our topic is active learning should involve activity. Here is a quote, ma'am. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. So when you just listen to something, you might forget it easily. When you see something like a picture or video, you are more likely to remember it. And even when you actively participate and practice something, you truly understand it better. That means here, actively involved in learning through doing is the best way to really understand and remember what you learn. It's about moving from passive listening to active engagement. Now, Pia ma'am is going to continue.
Rafia ma'am?
Someone is talking? No. Rafia ma'am, you're there? Tessie ma'am? Okay, someone else can start. Once ma'am comes, we can. Yes, Neela.
Ma'am,
So
as
you're
ma'am
talking of
said,
the...
I do and I remember. Group 2, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, okay, start.
So active learning, I mean, activity based doesn't mean that I have to do something to learn it. I can always reflect on what is done, on what is taught, and then I can be able to understand how much I have.
Okay, okay.
So active learning actually enhances the 21st century skills, which is a very important part of NEP 2020 if you go to the series, or collaborative, creative, communicative, communication. All the four C's are required in a classroom to actively engage in the concept that is being delivered. So across curriculums, we need these 4 to 5 basic skills in order to enhance our knowledge or like transfer the knowledge from the facilitator to the learner. So
Ma'am?
activity-based learning is important.
Yes.
Yeah, adding to it, ma'am, like we feel
Yes.
like active learning methods have their place, but they should
I would like
also
to add, ma'am.
they should also be balanced with other instruction strategies also, because we have to cater the all diverse learning styles. Only active learning may not be like
Taking to
useful. Both.
Khushi ma'am's
Ma'am,
point, in fact,
ma'am,
we
this is
are doing
exactly
both.
the point what I
Point,
want
yes.
to tell. This is exactly the point that works in favor of active learning, because we have different types of learner, kinesthetic learners, audio visual learners, and
But
there
all are
are so
not
many
taken.
different types
1
of
minute, when
learners are
one
there.
person is...
So when we do an activity, we cater to the multiple intelligences, many of them. I will not say all the multiple intelligences. We cater to many types of learners rather than, the other type where activity is not there. Not all of them will want to be actively engaged, write down something or make a mind map. Not all of them will be, but a few more of them will be involved when we do activity based.
That's why it's not like
That is what is
100%
our
what's yeah.
So,
what
ma'am,
I
I
would
would
say
like
that.
to add one point that
Just a
yes,
minute, just a minute. Who was countering that? Wait, Neelam. Neelam already have spoken. Someone from your group has not spoken. Okay, Shravanti, yes.
Yeah, ma'am. So, as our topic is against the active learning through, need not have an activity based learning, because see, active learning can be achieved through cognitive engagement, ma'am, such as like problem solving or discussion, without the need for the active physical activities. Like when it comes to example in PP1 language class, ma'am, students actively engage in storytelling by discussing the characters and events, exercising their imagination and comprehension, ma'am, without hands-on learning task too.
okay, now,
And even
But don't you think that it promotes
no,
active learning, promotes
yes,
teamwork and collaboration here?
no, yes, Shravanti
1
ma'am,
minute. Tessie, ma'am, minute. Alicia.
Ma'am, even
Let
as
me, you
Shravanti
note your
ma'am has
points.
given
You
the
note your points. Those who have raised the hand will finish. Yes, Alicia.
Yes, ma'am. As ma'am has given the example, memory retention is also important. It comes under activity only. Active learning. It is a
Okay.
part of activity, and major important thing is active learning involves and enhances intrinsic and extrinsic motivation also, which helps the student in learning in a better way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Saujanya.
Ma'am, what I understood from this debate topic is how can we achieve the same results just without using this active learning methods. That is what I understood, ma'am. It is not that we can use or we cannot use it, just achieving the same results, what I understood it. So, so if at all we are concentrating on the same results, but without using this active learning methods is like Socratic questions. Like I give one example, my team will continue ahead. Like open-ended questions to challenge students' thinking that can deepen engagement. Open-ended questions where this involves the teacher-centric method actually. This is not a student-centric, this is teacher-centric. So teacher will go ahead with open-ended question. So this is how I think one result we can achieve without active involvement. But yes, we are getting the same results out of it.
Yeah, ma'am. To support Saujanya, ma'am, even verbal discussions, critical thinking exercises, self-reflection will save the time, ma'am, and the resources compared to setting up the physical activities.
Ma'am, adding to it also, like while doing an activity, first the instructional method is also there. So there also first teacher center is there. Without the instructions and all, they don't complete an activity also. And finally, after the activity also, they have to keep it like on a paper, like as a result, as an assignment. So understanding an activity is different. Understanding the question on an as an assessment is also a different, ma'am. How they have to put it.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Neelam.
Ma'am,
Actually,
as it
whenever
is said
Neelam,
that when we do an activity,
Neelam, whenever you start to speak, I don't know, your internet is totally against you.
yes, ma'am, today it is
No, every time it is. You raise your hand, you start to speak,
unstable.
the internet starts. Yes, tell.
Sorry, ma'am. So activity caters to multiple
Again, she got stuck.
learners. So, ma'am, I'm on activity caters to multiple learners. So, teacher is planning the activity. Instead, we can let the learner. Instead, we can let the learner plan the activity as per their needs. We will just give them a learning topic.
You are talking
and tell them
about
learn
activity.
No, no,
You're
no.
talking about activity or no activity?
No activity.
No activity.
Okay.
But ma'am, providing proper activity, which is very much related to the topic, if the teacher only know how she can plan the activity so that the learners can achieve the objectives what she wanted from the learners to be done.
No, ma'am, need not be. We will give them a framework.
Okay.
Ma'am, but don't you think that the activities, they develop the problem solving skills of the students, which involve real world scenarios or challenges that help students to develop critical thinking and problem solving skills?
1 minute.
Ma'am,
Yes.
even debates on the topics also can do this, right?
Ma'am,
Like
and
talk,
also,
share.
And one more
1
thing
minute,
is,
1 minute. I think both of you from the same team. So yes, Sinduri.
ma'am, actually active learning, not like if an activity was given to the student, they only just think about the academically only. Like what is the topic? But if it is an active learning, then it fosters their academic excellence and also their social skills like leadership qualities, communication,
Problem
and
solving.
all these skills are also developed along with the academical learning.
Very true. Okay, that's a good point. Yes, Shampa ma'am.
the same team, ma'am, I wanted to ask, like in assessment, we have asked of and for the assessment. Without an activity, how are they going to explain all these three types of assessment? I want to just ask a
Ma'am,
question to the
digital
other.
tools we have, online quizzes we have, interactive simulations we have.
So they
We
all
can
are
use
active hands-on activity, no ma'am. Quiz also,
no,
if you
no.
see, at the end of the day, they will be like, probably they will have to use all the skills, right? So whatever
So
points
these
you're
are not the
giving,
physical activities, no.
No, hands-on activity need not be always physical activity. We don't have to always get up. Hands-on activity can be sitting and also creating something. That's a hands-on activity.
Yes,
Plus,
my activity was creation of an Excel
Ma'am.
sheet for
exactly.
economic ties.
Yeah, like,
It's not an hands-on activity.
ma'am,
It
I
was
think
a
both
written
has to be
activity where they
balanced.
had to write their parameters. So, but it was an activity, collaborative activity.
Exactly.
And it exposed both the expository aspect of advanced organizer and also the comparative one. So it blended both the things. And
Yeah,
the
actually, from the
I would
beginning,
like
no, the other group was thinking activity was physical activity.
physical activity.
All this comes. Remember, there are other activities which only require student engagement, but that activity is what I am talking about. That is active learning without doing an activity.
Yes, so and again we have that in advanced organizer according to the document we have, they must be short, verbal, to be learned, and a logical connection between the prior knowledge and the new knowledge learned. So our activity has encompassed everything, though it is not a physical activity. An Excel sheet where they did what was the prior knowledge, what is to be learned, and then when the groups collide and come to common points on economic ties, it gave a connection between the prior knowledge and to be learned. So an activity encompassed everything. It made as for assessment, of assessment, and for assessment. So
yes, Shravanti.
how can it
you
be
have
achieved?
Shravanti, you have where you don't require an activity, but you have to think about it. You have to think about it.
Yeah, ma'am, during the discussion, I mean, like
Who has
storytelling
joined?
sections.
Can I know who is this iPhone who has joined? Yes, Shravanti.
Ma'am, verbal and visual learning tools like we show, right? If even students will watch the videos on how fruits grow and then they discuss what they have learned, engaging their minds. But need not have an hands-on activity, need not touch them and then do it, right? No, ma'am.
No, that is also an activity, no?
Yes.
Seeing and learning, no, ma'am.
See, activity is
No.
basically visual. It can be auditory, right? So that's what Veena ma'am told. It is all the intelligence we are covering, all the aspects we are covering. What ma'am is telling, you have to go against it. Like not require that always, the hands-on activity should be there.
So
Sudha
through
madam,
debate.
sorry to interrupt you, madam. Sudha madam, this is Narendra.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sorry, sir.
Right, it's okay, madam. No,
Ma'am,
go ahead.
ma'am, I am in group 2, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes, sir, Parveen. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in group 2, ma'am, which is like activities not required in the classroom practices. So how can I prove it is that, ma'am, where an activity alone cannot make for a overall development, physical, mental, and social skills are required.
You're
Physical.
saying that activity is not required. You're on that part, right?
Yes, ma'am. Against the activity, I mean that group. So here, alone activity cannot give the overall development, ma'am. Whereas overall development is not only mental, it's physical, social as well. So these three components cannot be covered in one activity. So it should be more than that. So where the teacher involvement is very, very important. So I throw a point on this. So I would like to just add this.
And instead of preparing the materials for an activity, ma'am, even it was a visual
1
one
minute,
or anything,
Alicia.
we need to prepare it. A teacher can facilitate in a classroom through debate on a topic like sharing, and then we'll save time, right, no, ma'am, while still encouraging the active engagement.
Okay. Okay. Wait, Alicia. Yes, ma'am. Veena, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, a few weeks ago we had learnt about children preferring to, showing willingness to learn when their preferred zone is addressed to. That is, every child has a predominant intelligence which, when catered to, arouses their curiosity to learn. So this can be done by planning many activities because their preferred zone of learning will be different from what if we don't plan an activity, we may lose out on those learners active involvement in the class. So we have to cater to all the preferred zones of learning for children to get proper inputs. That is also something which I wanted to add.
And role play debates, this will, yeah.
1 minute, Neelam. Yes, Neelam. Neelam?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, when we plan an activity, the main thing we have to see is time constraint. So during an activity, we may not be able to complete and cater to all the
learners. Yes.
learners. So if we give the learner to independence to learn their own way, we are saving time.
Very true. Very true.
Ma'am,
That's
but
correct.
activities
Them the
itself will be.
resources.
1 minute, Sinduri. Alicia is on the line. Yes, Alicia.
Yes, ma'am. Active learning helps with the memory retention of few students also. Few students might not be very, they cannot rightly remember as soon as we start the topic. With the peer learning and activity, with activities, they can remember the points. Peer learning can happen, which will exactly get our learning outcome of the prior knowledge check.
Okay.
Ma'am, to contradict this, no. See, teacher-centered means not only writing, right, ma'am?
I'll give you a clue because no, you're struggling from the beginning. I'll give you one clue. You think and tell me. Okay. Now, initially, when you were learning tables, how did you learn? But were you able to remember while doing that activity?
No.
And then how did you learn?
Repetition.
Repetition, ma'am.
Rote
Practice.
learning. Rote learning,
Repetition.
practice.
Now, when it comes to
Practice.
repetition, what activity are you doing? You tell me that. And now
Verbal
that
only, ma'am.
now you are repeating, and no, even after repeating, will you be able to do it in class?
Write and practice.
Oh, writing, ma'am. Writing practice we do.
So is it no?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
That
Yes.
At this point, ma'am, a summative assessment is not an activity, but it is the highest form in the Bloom's taxonomy where the students are applying their knowledge and then coming out with the answers. So summative assessment is not an, I told for the other group because I
Okay, it need not be summative. For example,
Yes.
the best example today, Sharmila is on leave. Yes. How many activities can you conduct for making them understand the concept and remember and recall it? How do you make maths easy for the students?
Ma'am,
Only
to practice only, ma'am.
So practice is actually what is in the text you're making them do.
Obviously
Isn't
to
it?
do.
So how many activities are you conducting? Okay, and that is one example. Second example, let us take chemistry. We have Neelam here. Okay, what activity did you conduct for them to remember the symbols and all that?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Elements and symbols and valency. What activity did you conduct?
Reading.
Memorizing verbal.
Memorizing.
I'm reading, remembering, chart.
Practicing.
So now that
assignments.
remembering part, you cannot, but you have to see a way that you are engaging
Clues,
the
ma'am.
students in the
Clues.
and
Small
making
keys.
them remember. Now, how it is done? Repeatedly getting exposed to that particular area. Okay. Now, for the other group, can you learn a cycle without doing anything? In your brain, you just recall. Can we learn to ride a cycle or drive a car?
Basics.
No, ma'am.
But
you
we
need
to know, ma'am. We need to learn first, right?
That is sports. Okay. These areas. Now, for example, grammar also. Grammar, yes, you can understand what is the importance, but can you make the child thorough in that grammar? Okay. By only your activity?
No, ma'am.
No,
By
ma'am.
applying, right? giving the
That's what I
chance
told,
for them
ma'am.
to talk.
No,
Activity is
ma'am.
different.
That's not it.
Writing, answering the questions is different.
So you have to engage them in other ways of routine practice by worksheets and other things so that they get their practice. Now
Yeah.
that doesn't come under activity, that comes under learning practice.
Both should be balanced, ma'am.
Yes, both should be balanced. It depends on your topic. Now remember why you are doing your activities. Yes.
Ma'am, can I add?
Yes, Garima.
Ma'am, this is what, but just now what you have explained beautifully that having so many activities also will not help. Now, activity children are involved, they are enjoying at that particular time. But what is your main aim that after your activity, after your class, have they understood it? To find out whether they have understood, what will you do? Then again, you have to give the worksheets, you need to ask questions. This is not activities. So, activity
Evaluation.
is one part of that. But when you have to find out thoroughly they have understood, that time you don't need activity. You need the old method where they have to write, they have to learn, they have to read, they have to mug up. So that on that basis they can make own activity, more activities. But that content has to be there at that time.
Ma'am, adding it to Garima ma'am's point, ma'am, even in history also, when we were young, ma'am, we were asked to memorize certain, the dates. I remember there were no activities, but we had to follow the traditional method. Now, yes, the timeline.
What is the intention of introducing activities in your class? What is the intention?
Ma'am,
To engage the children first, active participation. Like all the children may not
Why do
be
you need
interest.
participation?
Ma'am, it is not only active
There are
participation,
interest.
active
Confidence, ma'am.
and they
Confidence
correlate
levels.
themselves at that time. So when they are correlating themselves, so they are able to. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible. I'm listening to you. Yes, tell me, Garima.
Them involved.
So why activity is important, ma'am? This retention and mugging up thing is there. It is important. But in olden days, when teachers are only coming, writing on the board, and this is what, so they are not able to correlate. But then
Very
now,
true.
if we are doing in the class, immediately we are able to correlate. So when we are seeing and doing it, then our basic foundation, what we say, it is getting strong. On that basis, we can make many more things.
Very true. So
And
one is
also,
correlation.
and also we are
Yes,
making
Kushi?
them confidence, ma'am. We are boosting their confidence. That to speak
Confident.
before.
How are they getting confident?
They will
How
speak
are they
before
getting?
the students. They are making themselves that they can speak before a crowd or before few students. While doing an activity, they can present. It means they are becoming confident, and nowadays, it is more important to speak before a crowd or to
Okay, but if
share
the
this.
activity is a presentation activity, but if it's not a presentation activity,
Like activities are being used, it will build
as
it
a
slowly.
confidence builder. Okay.
And
Anything else?
Ma'am, overall it
and
will.
also, yeah, these few children may not have an interest to listen, right? So they get engaged. All the children will have that excitement to play rather than like to see and learn. When play, no, right? That they'll have an active learning there.
Ma'am, what I feel is basically the visual as well as the auditory, that both the skills in a works together, ma'am. So when an activity is done, the teacher demonstrate, they see, and the teacher they
They
hear.
apply.
They hear and they apply. So that's how both.
So why do you need hearing and applying at the same time? What is that you are?
Because we have diverse learners in the classroom, ma'am.
No.
Okay, but what exactly your diverse learner, as Manjari
No.
rightly said, you use audio, you use visual, you use kinesthetic. Why do you need these three learners?
It tells us a reflection, right, no, ma'am?
Coordination,
To reach
Ourselves,
our
like
objective, ma'am.
whether
coordination,
it has been
okay.
reached or not, our objective.
To reach our
To
Each
objective.
reach
child has a
your
different way of
objective.
expressing
Yes,
themselves.
very good. To reach your objective, you
Objective.
need them to focus
Yes.
into that class, engaged in that class, and bring that so that they will be focused in your class or coordinating with you for your classes, right? So that is the reason. Remember, learning does not happen with one activity. It is, as you rightly said, it caters, it gives confidence to them. It gives that, okay, I know something about this. That when you're doing your prior knowledge, no, when we say, no, we have to show early success. In your learning, there is a concept called as early success. So this, in order to give that early success, that is what is going to give that confidence that I can learn, bring about a diverse, so that actually brings the focus back to the classroom and allows your learning to happen. So do not think that when we say about student engagement and motivation, it has to be 100% activity oriented. It need not be activity oriented. Now understand certain areas. See, for example, the teacher is explaining a poem, okay? And in a class, they have some poetic devices. Now the child is not exposed to. Now here you can't conduct an activity. You have to go with direct instructions method, isn't it? So remember, it's not that every space you have your activity involved. You will also have direct instructions or didactic way of teaching happening in your classes. It's depending on the topic that you're going to suggest. That is why I remember I previously told you, don't focus on one particular theory. See how you can intermix these theories in your classroom for your lesson plan. Okay. So the major aim is for that part. Yes, in group activity, few children are only active. So how will you handle them? What? Remember, you should have group activity also in your lesson plans. Okay. So how will you handle them, Aarti? How will you handle them in group activity? Thank you for raising that point. Otherwise, I would have missed it. Yes, Aarti. How will you handle them in a group?
Ma'am,
This
I
is
will
for
divide
everyone.
small
Please
groups,
understand.
ma'am. For
Very
that, I
good.
will,
Small
yes,
groups.
small groups,
Small
ma'am.
groups. So even in small groups, let us say you are having 4-member group. How will you see that everyone is participating?
By giving the 4 tasks for each group, ma'am. Few members have to prepare the chart, few members give the point, like that, ma'am.
Very good, very good. So you say assigning team members role in the work. Okay, assigning each member a role to play. One may be a timer, one may be a coordinator, one may be a point collector, a fourth person will be the representative. So when you give such activities, you will have to ensure that the team members have certain role to play. Then it becomes easy for you to track the group activity and ensure every group member is participating. Yes, Manjari?
I wanted to share this with you. The other day in that teaching, in fact, we had a play. The name of the play is Proposal, the proposal for grade 10. So what happened? There were characters definitely. So it was done in a form of a role play. But 30% of the class couldn't understand. The reason when we actually did the role play, the student definitely read from the book. So, but there were certain phrases and the words, because obviously it's a role play. So I initially did not explain it to them. So they didn't understand. So again, I had to go back to the typical didactic method where after each and every scene, I had to explain it to them. So apart from activity, what I feel it should be followed, through a didactic method also where the teacher does the explanation.
Definitely.
Yes, ma'am. So that's what I wanted to share. In fact, the role play they didn't understand. In fact, the whole entire, two periods were taken for the entire role play. But when I asked questions followed after the role play, most of the students didn't understand. So again, I had to go back. So that's why I thought that not always activity, ma'am, plays, important role. I mean, obviously, but activity, what I feel is one part of it to reinforce the concept. But still, the teacher has to explain the concept thoroughly.
Very true. Very true. Yes, Shampa ma'am.
Yes, there is, I think everyone knows an activity called Harkness table, where the students sit in 2 circles, the inner circle and the outer circle.
Outer circle, yes.
Yes, the inner circle debate and the outer circle, they are assigned different roles, like one makes a mind map of who discussed what in the form of a diagram. And then the other observes like which point was connected to the topic. And so that activity builds up the whole thing along with the non-activity parts also, where one member of the outer circle is assigned to write a report. The next member is asked to write entire summary of what has happened. So it is a blended method. I think you can explore it in the internet. The Harkness table, which blends both the activity method and the non-activity method of teaching.
Okay. Yeah. So I will just share with you the video of metacognitive strategies. I don't know how many of you have seen it in your then this was a group activity, but no, we will not be having time. What I want you to do is see through this and in the chat box, give me in these two classes, because I'm showing you both. That means it's for primary as well as secondary. So you can understand how metacognition is happening. Now, in your way, how do you think metacognition happens in your classes? For that, I'm sharing this video.
This video, an elementary school student uses metacognitive strategies while solving an addition problem. More specifically, he uses self-instruction and a self-monitoring checklist to guide himself through the problem-solving process. By doing so, he actively plans and monitors his work.
I can't figure out what 3 plus 5 is. What is it? Well, let me look at my checklist. First, it says read the problem. The problem says 3 5. So I checked that. Now it says the checklist says what is the problem asking? It's asking me to add 3 plus 5. Now to draw a picture. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it says, does my drawing match the problem? Up here it says 3 plus 5. So down here it says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have to solve it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The answer to 3 plus 5 is 8.
So that was the elementary one. Now I'll show you the high school.
While solving a word problem. By using self-instruction and self-monitoring, he actively plans and monitors her work.
First, I'm going to read the problem. Mr. Smith, the principal, is standing on top of the high school. He is looking at a tree in the courtyard that is 30 feet away from the school. The angle from Mr. Smith's feet to the base of the tree is 43 degrees. Using this information, determine the height of the high school. So, what am I missing? The problem says that the angle from Mr. Smith's feet to the base of the tree is 43 degrees. I've noticed that if you connect this point to this point, we have a right triangle. So while this angle is 43 degrees, this angle right here is a right angle, that's 90 degrees. There's a trick that I'm going to use called SOHCAHTOA that you can use to find the sides and angles in a right triangle. The opposite side to 43 degrees is 30 feet right here. So what do I need to find? I need to find the adjacent side. I'll label it with an A. I look at SOHCAHTOA, and I know that I need to find the tangent, because tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Now all I have to do is plug in the information that I have in order to find A. Tangent of 43 degrees, the angle, equals 30, that's the opposite side, over A. And I find that 30 over 0.93 equals 32.25. So the height of this building is 32.25 feet.
Okay. So you're clear now? Do you have any questions here? Now I just want you to apply the same to your classes and your subject, and let me know how exactly are you going to develop metacognitive strategies in your class.
We'll continue with our own examples that we have given.
How? Yeah, you can continue with that. Yes, you can.
So in my case, like if I pose a question like, what do you think which India will benefit the most by having ties with which country?
Okay.
So there they will have a metacognition, they know all the facts and they have the data in front of them. They will analyze the data and come to a conclusion as to which is the best country to have an economic tie.
Analyze. Okay, so you're going to give them the detail or the information related to that and arriving at a conclusion, or should they research and find the data?
No, they have already done that in my previous class in the Excel sheet. I'm continuing with that. So in the next class, I'll pose them a higher order question as to say which country will be the most beneficial country to have an economic tie. So they will calculate the distance between that country and our country, then the political norms, then all the 5 parameters will combine and come to a conclusion that this is. So their metacognition is happening. So can we say that?
Yes, there you can have, because you're asking them to analyze with their prior knowledge and then come to a conclusion. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Kushi.
Ma'am, like for picture composition, so I have taken like a keyword called like space. Like they can plan to write the composition, like S for setting, P for purpose, A for action, C for conclusion, E for emotion, so that they can go in a order, so that they can make a complete paragraph looking at the picture, where it happened, how it happened. So this is a keyword where step by step they have written it. So this can be an
yes, that is a metacognition, because you're using a clear-cut strategy for an order.
Yes, for an order. Yes.
Yes, that's good. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, Manjari.
Ma'am, data interpretation also is a metacognition, ma'am, because we give them
after your lesson it becomes. So how are you actually helping them build that idea?
Okay, this actually we have a writing task in our English, which is data interpretation, ma'am, where a pie chart or a bar graph is given. The data is very much given, and the student, they have to write, interpretation. I mean, their own interpretation using the data given. So can data interpretation as a writing task can be the part of metacognition?
No. The reason is it is a completely an activity. Now you have to train the students, okay, in understanding the data and then interpreting. See, after they understand, then looking at the pie chart event, like it, for example, you've done the bar graph. For
Okay.
example, you have done with bar graph on, say, different types of food people eat in the locality
Okay.
or in a
Understood.
particular district. The
Okay.
same thing when you give another chart, if the child is able to interpret, then it becomes metacognition. Because
Okay,
for the
understood.
first thing, what strategies you have taught, they are applying it to the next one.
Next two. Okay. Understood. Understood.
Yeah. Alicia, yes, Alicia.
Ma'am, I have conducted this in my class, ma'am, last week for the facts and opinions. I have given a newspaper articles, like 2 or 3 newspaper articles to the students and asked them to segregate the facts and opinions. It's a, I guess this comes under metacognition.
Did you already teach them how to identify facts and opinions?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The previous
fine,
class.
then fine.
Yes, ma'am. It worked as a prior knowledge check and the activity for the lesson also.
Okay, right. Yeah. Others?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, shall
Yes,
I?
Shravan. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. After the storytelling section, no, we can ask the, children like, what else? After reading the story, the students can act out different characters, right? So the teacher, might ask them, how do you think that the character felt so? Right? Like example, we have done a story of the monkey and the cap seller. After the monkeys have taken about the caps away, how did the cap seller feel? So they can act and say, or they can do. So that's like their own feeling, right? So there the
Yes, yes,
metacognition
that comes.
applies.
Yes, yes. Because
So,
they are able to feel the emotion, because for your age group, that comes under metacognition.
and also when we give the puzzles activity, right, no, ma'am? So we can ask these questions like, why do you think that this piece is right to fix there? The child will be telling like this is in a triangle shape at the corner. We have the triangle space, so that's the reason I have chosen this piece to fit in that place.
Okay.
So this also
Sorry.
comes under the metacognition, right, ma'am?
The last part I was not able to connect. Can you just
During the
let me
puzzles, ma'am, playing the puzzles game, so we can ask, the teacher will be asking, like when the child has chosen a piece, why did you choose this piece that will be fitting in that place? So the child may
that
take the
is
space left.
metacognition. Yes, they are relating the image now in their mind to the piece. So two things they are able to fix it. Yeah, that is metacognition. Yes,
And
Sindhuri.
when
Yes, Shravanti. Yes.
And
Sorry.
during the science class also, ma'am, animals, we will be telling them that like this type of different types of animals. Some will be small in size, some will be big in size, differentiating the animals, wild animals, farm animals, or with the insects. So we can give few clues to them and ask them to draw. So this animal has 4 legs, big hair, or a long tail, or long neck, giving them clues so that they have their own creativity, like they connect with it and draw the animal picture.
Yes, that's also correct. Yes. Yes, Sindhuri.
Yes, ma'am. After the explanation of a story, like I have asked my students to, like, they were divided into 4 groups and they were asked to write about the character analysis, ma'am. Like one group was given as the character traits and the actions performed by the character in the story and the feelings what the character was exhibiting during the story. So they were discussing among themselves and coming out what is a character analysis of the character. So this can be coming into the metacognition, ma'am.
Now, my question is, when you're asking for them to do the character analysis, was it after the lesson or before?
After the lesson.
Okay. So when you're doing it after the lesson, were they given certain hints that about the character, or should they do it on their own based on their reading?
Like after the explanation, during the explanation, I will be giving the key words, ma'am, but they have to recollect that word and they have to find out the matching. Like we said that one would be traits, one would be feelings, and one would be actions. So the students have to relate which word suits for which category.
That is fine. What is the age group that you're talking about?
Grade 5, ma'am.
Then fine. Then fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think Chaitanya has given this example, but remember when we are looking at coloration of pigments, grade 9, this will not be metacognition. This can only come under relation of prior knowledge. Okay. Metacognition for grade 9 is if they are able to tell which pigment loss has caused that color change, then it becomes under metacognition. They should be more specific. Remember, metacognition for a lower age group is different from the metacognition that we are talking about in the higher age. Okay. Now, for example, if they see a black metal on when they lift it, if they are able to differentiate that this is an aluminium rod because it's very light, that means metacognition is happening. If they lift it and they understand it's quite heavy, but it's still hollow, then they say that it's an iron or a steel rod. That means metacognition is happening. They're able to relate what they have learned it to something that they are seeing for the first time or analyzing it in a totally different way. Yes. So any questions you have? Now you can actually start working on your lesson plan, actual lesson plan. But I would suggest to wait one more week. You keep the topic, teacher part and the student part ready. Okay. Formative class. Okay. So come, I have written here submit, do not submit because no, last time I did that mistake and I found that candidates were not having their formative assessments done properly. So please do keep your formative assessment. We'll complete this because today's discussion, whatever we have covered, one area we have not covered is the questioning part. Okay. That comes next week. If we look at our objective, see, why new learning be built on students existing? Why do active learning approaches to teaching and learning help to engage, motivate students to learn? How do the selection, design, and use of resources enhance learning, engage, and motivate students to learn? What questions can students ask themselves at the beginning, during, and end of the task and activity? We have not covered because that comes as a part of assessment, which we will be continuing in the next week. Now, remember, though I have told formative assessments, you have to reduce oral questioning as one of the method. But remember, most of us use only questioning as an activity in the class for immediate understanding or immediate feedback. Now, what type of questions to ask and where to ask questions and how questions should be asked, we will be dealing it with in the next week. So please do complete these two parts and keep. And those who have submitted the assignments, I have already started reviewing it. Please look at the comments, okay, and work and submit. Please let me know if you have completed work because the moment you work on my comment, I'll get the notification. Okay, but I will not be opening it till you have completed the work and let me know that you have completed the work. I will rework on your assignments. Okay. And please, this is again my request, read through your module guide before responding to your EOL and EOR. Okay. Your key questions, all the questions must be answered and do not say that you are already working with these things in your unit 1. The first question the examiner is going to ask is, if you are already doing it, why are you doing this course? Okay, so don't do that. Just inform that this theory I have learned, I am doing this in my class. Now I understand that this is actually related to this theory and it is beneficial for my students. This way your connection can be. Okay. So make your connections like this in your unit 1. Clear? All of you understood? And please do start submitting your unit 1s because I know some of you are delayed. But please try and complete it within this month. so that no, it will be comfortable for you. Remember, even after you complete, it will take 1 whole month for your review and then uploading. Okay, it's not that your assignments are complete, immediately we'll send to Cambridge. No. Okay, I'll have to sit, see that you upload it in your portfolio correctly. There again, corrections will come and then the work actually happens. So please see that if your assignments are on time, remember March, there will be no submissions. Okay, we have to do in February and we want to finish it off in February. Yes. So that's the reason we are asking you. So Jan, Feb, we want to finish off maximum uploads. Okay, we'll be completing in December. So those who are fast, you have completed your unit 1, unit 2, we will keep it ready. Unit 3 only will be pending. We can finish it off and no uploading also simultaneously. January Sankranti holidays, we can get it done. January, we will push off your this one for Cambridge up. Okay. So that is the reason we are asking you to do. So the first come, first serve basis, it will be. Yes. Yeah. So please, and remember, I will not be approving it if it is not perfect. Yes. So please see that you are following all these guidelines and see that you keep your module guide with you when you're answering your UOL. And maximum is, see, what you do first time you write your UOL, it may come up to 1,000 words. No issue. Now from there, reduction is more easy for you. Okay, reducing to 800 words is more easy. You write 700 and want to pull it to 800, it will not happen. Don't do that. Okay, right? Okay, then any questions you're having, please ask. Otherwise, we'll share the feedback. You can fill your feedback and we can call it a day. Yeah. Any questions anyone has? Anyone? Yes, Khushi.
Ma'am, for unit 2, we need to make a lesson plan. So the aim and objective we can take from NCERT and also from, or else from like direct
Aim
also.
from NCERT, objective you have to.
Aim we have to take from NCERT. Lesson?
Lesson also NCERT you mean?
NCERT lesson only. Then like now we have discussed about a teaching classroom. So that lesson plan is different. Because that lesson we will not have in the CBSE. So same lesson we have to teach in the class.
You are not following NCERT textbook?
For grade 1 to 5, it's not NCERT.
Okay, no issues. Whichever you are taking, but you are set your curricular aim properly. If your publisher has given you what is the aim, you can use that.
Ma'am, I just want to add that any book, every first, second page, it is written their aim, objective, whatever the activities. So from there we can
pick the aim. Yeah, you can. But objectives, I would prefer you to write.
Yeah, objectives we will make.
Most of the Indian publishers, the objective is not specific or measurable. That type it is not given. So it will be better objectives you write. Aim you take from the curriculum document.
Now, what the artifacts which you told, like the video or the photos, it is like a live class, like what we have be doing in the class. So in the class, we are following not NCERT books, but we are other publishing books.
No issues, but even with that, no, you are going to make
your voice, sorry, your voice is breaking, ma'am. We are not able to understand.
See, you are going to have some artifacts, isn't it? Even if it is an outside publisher's books. Okay, like now you're having an audio presentation, record that. You have the child's worksheet, you record that. Child's work in the notebook, mind map or any word cloud he has made, take snaps of that. Those are only evidences and you need not collect your entire students. Sample 3
only
students.
Sample piece they will take. So
Sample
aim can be taken
students,
from the textbook.
Yes.
From the lesson which we are teaching.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, like seen.
Can we include any grammar topic Also as a
Yes,
lesson?
you can.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you can. Anything you can have.
Integration can also happen along with the lesson plus grammar.
Yeah, you can. But the 40 minutes, can you do that? You check. That's the only thing. Yes, you can. Yeah. Any other questions?
Ma'am, in
Yes.
Unit 1 artifacts, we have to include directly learning theories only, ma'am.
Yes, represent your understanding of the learning theories.
Okay.
Not your
Not like experienced teacher learning.
Think of the experienced teachers other than your observation visit form. Nothing of your experienced teachers. If your artifact of Unit 1 should be based on your EOL only. Okay, so what have you learned from different theories that you have to put it there?
Ma'am, EOR, we can take it a little bit from the experienced teacher, no ma'am, from Unit 1.
You will write the reflections, your reflection and your mentor's guidance for the experienced teacher's class.
EOR.
But that you need not present it as an artifact because no one is bothered about what your experienced teacher's class is. What is your learning only is more important.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Actually, the
Aarti ma'am, you will
get
have...
doubts when we start doing it actually, ma'am.
See, that is the reason I'm asking you to do it. I know that you will get doubts. And when you write no, there will be multiple doubts that are coming. See, after your 17 sessions, getting me will be very difficult. That is the reason I'm asking you. See, once you do your Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3 will become easy for you. But if you're not doing your Unit 1 and Unit 2, then you start, you will find it very difficult. You will be in a very big confusion. So start doing. Somewhere you start, you will get a lot of doubts. It's not a problem at all. But in the class, no, you can ask and solve it out.
Ma'am, so particularly in Unit 2, we are making one lesson plan. That plan we are going to execute and then give the reflections. Is the same thing, ma'am?
Yes. You are make the lesson plan, send it to me, get it approved, conduct in your class with the mentor, write the observation form, then your EOL, EOR.
Ma'am, do we have any template for this lesson plan, ma'am?
Yes, you have from the Cambridge. Unit 2, Unit 3 is mandatory Cambridge template.
So the lesson plan need to be implemented with the mentor. I mean, mentor should
Yes,
be...
mentor should be in your class.
Okay.
Because your mentor is the one who has to write the observation form.
Okay, in Unit 2.
Unit 2 and Unit 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, you are clear now? Okay then.
Can you just please repeat what are we supposed to do for Unit 2? First is a lesson plan we are going to write.
Lesson plan you have to write. That too, lesson plan, what I told, aim, objectives you write. Teacher, what teacher part you write, student part you write. Don't touch the formative assessment now. Resources also you finish. Keep it ready. Next week, once we do the formative assessment, fill it up and send it to me for approval. Okay? Yes, thank you.
So can we
once
choose
it's
the upcoming lesson, ma'am? Can we choose the upcoming lessons in November?
It's up to you. You can choose anything. You want,
So
you
we
can
have to
choose
present as...
December lesson also and do now, but your mentor and your principal has to agree. That's it. If you have a lesson which is comfortable for your execution in the month of December, take that. Take permission from your principal, from your mentor, write a lesson plan, execute it. No issues. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Those who have finished, those who do not have questions, can.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
And write again into your mail.